So the plan today was to continue looking at things I had set aside for Toy-sember, but I was doing my live stream last night, and a lot of people were curious about what I thought of the new Titans Return Twinferno, since I reviewed the G1 toy Double Cross so glowingly as one of my favorite G1 toys. So we're gonna break with the plans, and before the Christmas weekend hits, we're gonna look over a toy that just might be waiting underneath your tree. Titans Return Twinferno. First off, name. So much better than Double Cross. I said it during that review. Double Cross just isn't an Autobot name. Even if you're going with something character-wise with them, that's like the worst name for an Autobot I've ever heard. Twinferno is so appropriate for him and such a cool name. I'm sorry to G1 Inferno, who probably gets mistaken for him on Christmas cards and all that every now and then, but hey, that dude's name is Twinferno. That's just cool. As you can see, just like the G1 toy, two-headed dragon, so immediately you hit me in a sweet spot. And very much the G1 toy, it is heavily reliant on gray and black plastic with little bits of white here for the tops of the heads, on which I will note I'm very happy to see the horns are now white along with the rest of the head. He doesn't look so much like a twin-headed Cubone anymore. That's good. A lot of the color placements do match the original toy, but the way the toy transforms hides a lot more of the red, so he does come across as a very monochrome dragon here, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So he does have everything else going on similar to the G1 toy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the sculpting and such. A lot of little details and ridges around the horns. The white balance on my camera is going to make it a little bit hard to see some detail. I will try to adjust without messing things up. Also, eyes have been painted, which is also a huge upgrade from the original toy. Thank you very much. He still has the organic designs to his arms, since the G1 toy was notable for having the first organic components on an actual G1 toy, or an actual Transformer rather. Also still has a little buzzsaw molded in. It doesn't do anything in this version, but it's nice to see that they put in that little homage to the gimmick of the original toy. If only I could remember the Godzilla monster that had that. That's still bothering me. No, it's Gigan. I remember that one now. I can't wait to see how many people correct me on the comments here. He still has the organic legs as well, so a little bit of fleshy detail, a little bit of furry detail along with everything else. Still a big, thick tail too. A little bit thicker than the G1, just because more of the legs are comprising it before it gets down to the little stump here. And then you have the wings, which have been done in a translucent plastic with black paint, trimming it to make the more solid actual armatures of the wings a little bit stronger looking, making the membrane of the wing translucent, which is a neat effect. And it's translucent plastic used in a way I don't mind, because there's no real stress going on here, so there's no worry in my mind about the condition of that later on. All in all, fantastic amount of detail going on. If there's anything that bothers me about the toy, there's so many, because of the way this guy transforms, and I do love the transformation of the toy, he comes across as very boxy in beast mode. There's a lot of hard 90-degree angles going on here, and strangely enough, more than the G1 toy, he actually manages to be boxier looking than the G1 toy. You can see how the midsections alone, he's got the G1's got actual pectoral muscles and an actual dip where his waistline is, whereas he waits all the way down here before he starts getting any kind of shape going on. It's a little bit strange. Also, in the strange detail department, strange in the proportions, the wings are rather low. This is due to how he transforms again, but I do wish there was some way to slide him up behind the shoulders, which would be a bit more of an accurate depiction of where a dragon's wings would sit. So that's a little bit annoying. So he is a beast mode, so he does have playability here. The wings, as we've seen, open and close, so he has that. Ball joints at the shoulders, so he's good there. Also has hips that go up and down. His knees work in this mode. And then his dragon heads. Let's see. We have a swivel, We have a hinge. We have another hinge here just at the jaw. And the mouths open and close, complete with tongue and teeth molded detail. That is a lot of playability in a beast mode. Very, very much appreciated. Gives him quite a bit of playability. Meanwhile, as far as playability goes, he does have 2 pegs on the back for a Titan Master to ride on. So in flight poses, he can actually have a rider. I was really missing these in Wave 2, and I'm not sure why they took a wave off, but it adds to playability for the Titan Master gimmick, and that's always good. He also has 2 holes in his wings to mount his guns, and it's a little bit strange. You could either mount the guns in a flight position, is well and good. And let's do this the other way so we can get a little bit better a look out of it. There we go. So you could either put these on the tops of the wings when he's in flight pose, and that looks fine, or we can fold his wings back and do this and give the dragon over-the-shoulder cannons. I like over-the-shoulder cannons, especially when they're on dragons, because when do you ever see that? Just in case breathing fire from 2 locations isn't enough firepower for you. Yeah, a little bit more. Oh, that's actually cool. And his wing just disengaged as I tried to unpeg the gun. Very tight in there. Okay. So, all that said, you got to start getting to the transformation. But first, we open up the belly to reveal his cockpit, where we have his Titan Master hiding away. We're going to take a quick look at him, because he's a pretty standard unpainted Titan Master, but he has something interesting going on. If the camera could pick it up, because this is a very small detail, and the white plastic is blurring a lot of it out. So, this is Daburu, which might sound like a weird name unless you've watched a few Kamen Rider series. Yep, just like Double, Daburu is a lot of Japanese accent on the letter W. So his name is literally Double, just with a Japanese accent. That's the gimmick they went with, thank you very much. He's actually based on White Leo, the beast former from Headmasters, who you would better know as one of the battle beasts. And you can actually see that detailing, and see, hopefully you can make it out when I get this thing in camera, or in my editor. He does have an eye patch, complete with a sculpted line detail for the strap of the eye patch going around the head. That's really characterful on a really small detail. That's really cool. Unfortunately, the rest of White Leo didn't translate in. He's missing his blue armor, for instance, and he doesn't have any paint to accent that really unique detail, which is unfortunate. So we just go ahead and fold him up. He's got the typical Titan Master basic articulation, which I don't think I need to demonstrate at this point. But there's the head. We'll set that aside, and we'll get to transforming Twinferno here. He's got a lot going on. It's got elements of the original G1, but he does a lot of new stuff too. We're going to start at the legs, where I'm going to pop these sections off from his lower back. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and fold his beast mode legs up, like so. That's so far in tune with the G1 toy. And here's where we do things a little bit differently. Once we flip these sections out, rather than fold it all up on the sides of his legs, we're going to fold these sections over and actually create his feet from the beast legs. This is something I wish they did way more often. That's such a clever way of getting those big beast hips out of the way and making them more useful. And I know so many G1 toys that turned into beasts that had the legs just hanging off the side here. Look at your Dinobots a lot sometimes too. That's such a better way of handling it. Like every upgraded beast former needs to do something like that. Here's where we get even more interesting with a transformation. This entire section is going to basically turn inside out. I'm going to flip all of this around and then rotate everything down, double hinged over. That flips into position. Now we're going to go to the beast arms, fold them down. You see those crevices in the side? That will tuck them away and get them completely out of the way. That's really clever engineering again. Connect. Open up the wings here. And that's pretty much the robot itself. Go ahead and rotate the arms around, connect these all. We're ready for the Titan Master, which has a very firm plug-in. And that gives us Twinferno in his robot mode. All around, he's got such a clever transformation. He's one of the few toys that I'm genuinely happy to have an excuse to transform. There's a lot of interesting engineering going on with him, and I love how half of him basically turns inside out in order to get to his proper robot mode. You can see here a lot of detail exposed, a lot of new red, and we have plenty of new things to look at. First off, a proper look at Daburu now sitting in his proper place on the shoulders of Twinferno, looking quite good. The white plastic does stand out quite a lot, and just like the old G1 toy, only the visor has been painted, so his white plastic is kind of washing some details out. Also, you don't really get the horned look as much. That's one little thing that I kind of wish the Titan Masters did a little bit better. The heads all kind of end up having the same shape, but at least the head is all white, so it looks a lot more solid than some Titan Masters end up looking. Quite good. I'm fairly pleased with this. So as we said, a lot of red has been exposed. We have a completely new chest detail going on. A lot of transformative detailing here that really works well for him. First off, in the torso, where a lot of molded detail has been exposed. Very robotic, and now he has actual shape and definition to him. He's kind of ditched the boxy look, and this is probably a very good visual trick overall. While I'm not a fan of the boxy dragon, I do appreciate how different the two modes look from each other. That's a really cool trick in and of itself. I like the Autobot logo on one side. I get annoyed when the Autobot logo gets plastered everywhere or gets doubled up where it shouldn't. I also like that the red and those black line details match the original stickering on Double Cross, which is such a cool little touch. Shoulders themselves completely red, completely painted over in red. Nothing on the toy has been molded in red. If it's red, it's painted that way. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and it makes me wonder why, because usually that's an indication of later mold usage. New detail down here. We got some hits of yellow now, just to spice up the red sections a little bit. Some silver for the kneecaps, and everything down here pretty much letting the plastic coloring do the talking for it, aside from a few leftover details from the beast modes. All in all, I really dig the colors on here. They're very simple, but that does make those hits of red come out so much more strongly. And it's to show that not every Transformer needs a lot of color to look interesting. It's one thing that Hasbro really didn't know about like 10 years ago, but they've gotten a lot better at it so far. As far as other little touches that I could note, for some reason he comes across a little bit stumpy. His hands come all the way down to his knees, which, considering he has dragon heads for arms, I don't really mind that, but his legs do come up looking a little bit short for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why it works out that way, but it does give him a bit of a stockier look, especially with how broad his shoulders end up being. I also love this Vistage. The wings end up in a perfect location, and I'm happy that they can be displayed this way on his back, especially without the beast mode arms hanging off of them. Like, tucking away like that is such a good way of getting them out of the way and allowing the wings to really be their own detail. Done exceptionally well. I'm very happy with that. So, what can we do articulation-wise? Well, he's a Titan Master, so the head has full ball joint movement all the way around. And he's quite a snug fit, so he doesn't really have any kind of wiggle issues or anything. Shoulders, universal movement, hinge here, swivel there. You also have a bicep rotation as well as a pretty good 90-degree elbow, and then the mouths opening up, so technically his hands work. He doesn't have anything for wrist articulation, so he ends up with this barbell curling look. Though the point can be made, do you really count barbell curling arms when your hands are dragons? Like, it's I don't know. Like, it's a little bit strange. For some reason, it kind of makes me excuse it a little bit more easily. Let's see, nothing in the waist, unfortunately. Even though this panel raise up to they could have allowed it. I don't know. It's a part count thing. That panel raising up does allow the hips to have full universal range. That's always nice to have. Thigh swivel works pretty well. Knees, great bend to them. Ankles swivel around, but because of the transformation, no actual rocking to them. Thankfully, they're nice and broad with big flat sides on the inside, giving him plenty of range. Means Twinferno makes the grade on articulation. He does quite a good job. Plenty to do, plenty to play with. And also, as far as plenty to play with goes, he does actually have the ability to hold his guns normally. These sockets here for the jaw actually do fit the 5mm port. And we're running really long here, so we're going to go ahead and attach in one gun and go ahead and show you the combined mode of the two rifles, which, as usual with this line, does allow a Titan Master to sit in and actually control the gun autonomously. However, you'll notice the design of this doesn't really have that same giant seat in the middle of his gun look that a lot of these connected weapons have. It's far better suited as a double-barreled cannon and looks far better than your typical showing. Also, the individual guns, because of that, actually look like actual Transformer guns. They don't just have a big empty gap in them where they're supposed to be sitting a Titan Master once the weapons are combined. It looks far better than the weapons typically do in this toy line, which is a marked improvement. Okay, so that, my friends, is the new Titan Master Twinferno. He's got a lot going for him. Very playable beast mode, very well articulated robot mode, extremely clever transformation. He gets a little... He gets a few points knocked off for boxy proportions in beast mode and kind of a short-legged look in robot mode. But for the most part, I am very thrilled with how this came out. I think it keeps a lot of the original intact while doing a lot of new stuff to bring him into modern style of engineering. And it still feels like it's the best way to have actually accomplished the character rather than just adding joints to the G1 toy. He is a star of the toy line so far, at least for me. Your mileage might vary. I have no idea what your little nitpicks or pet peeves are going to be, but for me, this is everything I wanted out of an update of one of my favorite G1s.